I don't believe in clash of civilizations. That is a theory heated and cooked in the last 10 years, which is also destroying the world, I think, especially world's peace. Whole life in Istanbul is a testimony to the fact that actually civilizations combine, harmoniously come together, combine, and produce something new. Actually, what we call a civilization is not something that comes from purity, from one single source. Civilizations are made from different sources. So even the words clash of civilization is a sort of oxymoron, because civilizations are made of different parts. As a theory, both logically and from my experience, I don't believe in it. But then we can say this may be a fancy idea from a Harvard professor and can ignore it. But then the fact is that it turned out to be a darling idea of an Western media to promote war with, especially in my part of the world, to intimidate Islamic countries and in fact non-Western countries by superiority of the West. And the results will be probably, if they insist in this, promoting this idea, will really be a clash of civilizations. Don't live a life that comes, we don't live in a culture that comes from one single source, from one single civilization, especially my life in Istanbul, that its complexity, our lives are made of a hybrid culture that comes from Islam, from Middle East, from Turkish culture, from Byzantium, and even Islam is not one single unity. There are so many colors, so many differences. There is this mystical Islam, there is this, what I would say, more straight, perhaps Orthodox Islam, there is people's Islam, there is political Islam, there is daily life Islam, there is Islam as a social institution. So for even Islam is so varied. So, and Western civilization is so varied, and their interconnection for hundreds of years is again shows us that we should also focus on harmony, how things come together. The developments on history in the last 2 decades had shown us that more and more that all the peoples of the world should slowly and slowly begin to develop an idea of world civilization, that the future, ecological, political, economical future of our globe, the world, depend on us, that we should not define us by our nations, religions, civilization, but more as a sort of citizens and sons and daughters of the world, because now we are seeing that we are coming to the limits and end of the world globe's sources, and this also should also be the beginning of the idea that we should look for the ideas at the other ends of the world, that we should look for not points of conflict with other nations, other civilizations, but what we can do for the future of humanity, for the globe together. Most of the time, actually, I have seen that it's not the governments, the states, who are promoting clashes between nations, civilizations, but the media, the xenophobic, it's the media, the xenophobic idea that other nations, other cultures are dangerous, the highly developed idea of that the others are not like us and we have to clash with them, which is always popular with the media. These are the things that we have to fight against. I agree with Goitisolo's idea that, as it is, the alliance of civilizations looks more like a political idea, which is a good idea, promoted by the governments. But then, what do we align on? What do we agree about? We have to develop, defend certain strong ideas that we have to be able to morally defend, politically defend in all corners of the world. That is, we have to, those of us who believe in the future of the world peace, should defend an idea of that will be a universal idea, universal values that we can base on harmony or alliance of civilizations. It should not be the alliance of civilizations should not mean that the governments, national governments, should shake hands, but they can do whatever in their homes. That alliance of civilizations should be based on also free speech, respect to minorities, democracy, and I think a global humanism. And we have to elaborate, explore, pin down, explain, analyze these ideas and set it, the idea of alliance of civilizations, not friendship with various governmental bodies, but harmony of ideas that we can promote all over the world. Just as I'm critical of the idea of clash of civilization, because it promotes in the end, war with nations, countries, sometimes even, yes, civilizations. I'm also critical of a flat idea of alliance of civilizations if it only means that national states should shake hands and be friendly. Even this simplistic idea is better than clash of civilizations, but I think humanity will come together only with morally right, politically right ideas. Alliance of civilizations is possible on respect for human rights, on a general acceptable idea of humanity, which should be developed by all humanity. Then we should proceed from there. Alliance of civilizations should not be a flat excuse for some governments, some nations to shake hands against others, which will in the end continue towards forming alliances among some nations. We are not after that. I don't believe in that. It's so hard to make generalizations about civilizations, nations, cities without falling into traps of being kitsch, essentialist, very general ideas. So we have to be careful about that. If we are strongly believing on the idea of hybridity, then we have to accept that there is no typical Turk, there is no typical Istanbul, that every person is a world in itself, and I'm a writer who is writing novels and focusing on the singularity of a human vision, then I can't even make a general proposition saying that Turks are like this, Istanbuls are like that. No, I respect every single human being, and I cannot pass a strong idea about that. But on the other hand, all of my life had shown that people of Istanbul do not care about whether this cup of coffee comes from East or West, from Russia or from Africa, from Europe, that it's tasteful, that it is good, that it serves our purpose, that it is a good thing. That should be the first thing about our ideas about everything. That we should not look for the sources of the things, but we should look how we can be in touch with other people, live harmoniously, produce more, enjoy life more, and live peacefully in this world without paying attention to nationalistic, religious ideas imposed by the political bodies, governmental bodies. And I have seen that people in daily lives, in bazaar, in streets, in homes, actually come together without making much fuss, while politicians impose ideas that civilizations, nations should be based on one single source, that national culture should be pure. And once you insist on that idea, you go towards the road of clash of civilizations. If you want to believe in order to defend the alliance of civilizations or the harmony of civilizations, you have to understand that hybridity of cultures, that cultures should not be based on one single source.